final ending of the mistake. Part 1 down below. The Costly Lessons Grand Finale. This is the tale of how a toxic partner can destroy your relationships. Section 1 is below. She was, to be honest, the kindest person I had ever met right away. She was a little naive because of her background, but because I was a codependent, it felt good to take care of her and support her in life. Our relationship lasted only 4 years from beginning to conclusion. We had too many things come up, and things moved far too quickly. We were never able to go on an actual date. She was evicted from her house and moved in with me right away. I'm not surprised that she moved in with Ohm so quickly for that reason. My brain tumor is known to me. Many issues arose after surgery for some time. RD caught me off guard. We weren't prepared for that, but I adore her so much. It's incredible how much stress can damage a person. It's unfortunate as well. I suppose everything went nicely in terms of my tumor. After that, I was ill for almost 2 months, but I mostly recovered. Every now and again, I'll notice something odd, but nothing alarming. Regretfully, she harbors no animosity towards individuals who suffer from tumors. But perhaps she does. She attempted to claim for a while that after my surgery, I changed. But that was a long time before the A or D ever represented the future. The same thing about her desire for drama in her life, and her impulsivity was said to me by my old man. I assume this is the reason she periodically tries to phone me about other things. It was great not to hear from her for long on Sunday, 2 days after D was finalized. Since we were going to switch daughters and she wanted her pictures, I assumed she would call. At 11, she finally gave me a call. 30. On the phone, she tried to apologize for what had happened the day before and was kind to me. I informed her that I didn't want to discuss it. When she asked what time I would like to come get our daughter, I said that it would be later in the evening. She also reported to me that RD had puked and was complaining of ear pain. Her ear appeared to be red as well, but she only saw it as uncomfortable stomach. After driving into town that evening, I met her at our prearranged location. I could tell she was furious the instant she got out of the car. I replied that I did have her images, but that I also needed to talk about a few other things. She attempted to give it all to me. We were divorced, therefore I'm not required to attend to speeches. I then attempted to enter my truck, but I locked it. I should not have bothered with some of the topics I brought up since I was just dredging out garbage that I didn't need to consider. The most important thing was that I decided to stop dealing with her since she had been treating me badly for the last 3 months after she had cheated on me and left. Sadly, we will have to coexist for at least the next 10 years, if not forever, and I was not going to be the doormat. Punching a bag. We got into further arguments, and I eventually had enough, so I just returned the photos to her. Even if I don't really care about them in the slightest, I had preserved a few of them since I was reluctant to part with the rest of them. These ones I'll probably destroy. They included her and some underwear I purchased for our nuptials. The idea that another man will view those just doesn't feel right, despite the fact that they are sharing a bed. She was obviously very sad to learn this because those were the ones she had explicitly requested. Then, in front of our daughter, she continued to call me names and say things like how delighted she was that she was divorced from me and that I was selfish. I simply gave her a look and informed her that this is what it means to be a band that cheats. You have to deal with the fallout from your actions. Told her that after the BS of calling the sheriff on me, she was lucky that I had not destroyed them. I was upset, therefore I was unable to take the high road, even though I should have. I turned around as I was strapping in my D, and she was in my face, kind of hitting and pushing me. That I had angered her so much over some images astonished me much. In the previous 4 years, she had never touched or slapped me out of rage. After I departed, she did nothing but text me throughout the day, criticizing my selfishness and other ridiculous things. She did the most self-centered thing of all, so for the most part, I didn't care. The only thing that hurt really bad was when she shoved the fact that she had taken care of me during my tumor, as if I should be grateful for it or something. I tried my best to have fun with my D the remainder of the evening. I would be dropping her off to daycare for the first time tomorrow. By the way, I discovered that I had a tumor approximately half a year after we were married. My daughter's first birthday was a month away, and I was worried that I would abandon them. I took out my camera and recorded a video for my spouse. Daughter is a farewell and such in the event that I did not survive it. I believe I performed better. Too bad she didn't experience the same emotions. The remainder of the week went smoothly following the entire Sunday drama. I was relieved not to have to see the ex-wife and that I could spend time with Dee. When I went to drop Dee off, she wanted to go every day and would run up to me when it was time to come collect her. It was a sad but wonderful sensation. She didn't do that last week at all, according to the daycare ladies, and had a tantrum when it was time to leave. Paid daycare hours are 7:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. allows me to have some free time after work if I so choose. I received a free 3-day pass to a gym, which I plan to join as soon as I return to the city. Dee's ex-wife called nearly every night to talk to her. On a couple of those occasions, I could hear her crying, but I chose to ignore it and limit our conversations. Tuesday at around 10 o'clock she called me, 30 o'clock at night, and asked if I would swap cars with her so she could use my truck to get her belongings from her parents' house. She asked me again on Thursday, so I think she wasn't listening when I told her no. After telling her no, I received a crude text reply that said, "That's all right. I'll do as I always do and find my own way." Apart from that, I didn't reply or do anything. It was as typical a week as I could have hoped for. On Sunday, Mother's Day, I dropped Dee off, uttered maybe 5 words to her, and walked away. I ran across another dude at the store on Tuesday. He simply stared at the ground when he spotted me. I've seen him drive by frequently enough to know the overall shape of his appearance. He was attempting to cover his face when I passed because he was shorter than me and had on a hat. She must have texted me after he saw me because she texted me back, saying, "You know what he's buying? That's the man who slept with my wife." I told her over the phone, adding that it wasn't her concern. I brought that up, and she got upset. Even though I should just forget about it, it's still enjoyable to slightly twist the knife. It seems strange these days that what she did was the height of selfishness and that I deserved nothing. Yes, my family and I were shattered, but ultimately, I wasn't at fault. Although we encountered issues, they were readily resolved. I realize that I am not so much upset about what has happened now as I am annoyed and furious with her. I informed her that when I go pick up Dee for the week on Sunday, the 3 of us should finally get together in person. In this little community, it will finally come to pass. I'm curious to see what will come of that. Though I don't particularly look forward to it, I have noticed that I don't have as many mind movies as I formerly did, nor do I actually think about them together as much. I still occasionally get triggers, but things are improving. This is a sad realization, but this week I haven't talked to my daughter. I simply don't want to deal with anything she might try to bring up right now or hear her voice at all. I think it has been extremely helpful for me not to have to see her or deal with her virtually every other day. Last night, I tried to call her, but she was already asleep. When my ex-wife tried to talk to me about selling the house, I told her I had to go. Hanging up, I said goodbye. I believe I may now have an apartment and a roommate. I plan to examine it on Monday, and I'm hoping for the best outcome. On Wednesday, I hosted some friends over and had a great time, although I may have consumed a bit too much alcohol. Played a game of Cards Against Humanity with cards. I'm pretty sure I'm going to hell right now. Regretfully, yesterday morning, I felt a little under the weather, not just from the alcohol. It was good to have icy, though, and we caught up on everything. I've identified the point at which my degree of drama is truly beginning to decline. When I can at last find a new place to live, it will be in approximately a month. I sense a significant shift in the atmosphere. I did, however, wake up feeling like a complete failure. I've been keeping myself awake with cold medication to get through work, and I'll most likely spend the next 24 hours sleeping at home. I just realized that tomorrow is her ex-wife's night shift. I'll most likely receive a call asking if I can watch Dee. Even though I really want to see her, I will refuse and let her scramble to get a babysitter because I know she won't ask other men. Does not wish to occupy his valuable time. In addition, I had to get better and get some rest before my week with Dee. Being at daycare is making her become a tiny science experiment. My adorable little bacterium bucket that can walk and talk. I discussed the idea with her, and she seemed to understand and agree that it would be beneficial. It's inevitable, therefore it's best to deal with it now rather than waiting for my mental health to improve and maybe suffering a major setback. I will be picking up Dee in about 30 seconds, so I don't plan on chit-chatting or anything. However, when we meet in person, I truly don't know how to put into words what I'm attempting to do. I could care less if she respects my time since I don't want to be around her anymore. I am not and never will be a doormat for her. Perhaps in the future she will understand, perhaps not. Not really a problem or concern of mine. It's incredible how the WS inserts the on place them on a pedestal and holds the B in such high regard. S is ultimately the doormat. To be honest, I still don't get it. She won't think of anything if she doesn't have him. I'm so sad for my child because of this. From her own mother, she deserves better, much better. My ex-wife attempted to text me about some cleaning supplies and phoned me twice last night. We attempted to launch a side cleaning business to make extra money. It appears that she is attempting to relaunch it. I simply didn't answer the calls. I did, however, end up giving Dee a call back later to say goodnight. By 8 o'clock, she was apparently fast sleeping. She attempted to speak with me about the matter, but I told her I had to leave and would speak with her later to discuss when she could come pick up her belongings. It's funny how she acts like I'm her friend or something when she asks how I'm doing and when we're going to stop the call to have a good night. I don't question her about herself or her life. I talk to her infrequently and don't spend a lot of time on the phone with her. I am just over it and more enraged than unhappy about what she did to me and RD since she phoned the sheriffs about the dumb images. Trying to add more activities to my life and meet new people is a pleasant sensation. It's incredible how much harder everything seems to be when you're not in school. I'd want to have a different work sometimes. I can afford any income reduction, but I have made a lot of friends through my previous jobs. I've reached the stage where I'd like to meet a lovely woman buddy as well. Not particularly for bonding, though I wouldn't be upset with that, but I miss the interactions and companionship you get from someone of the other gender. Can't wait to leave this house once and for all. My realtor contacted and said there's a good possibility we'll walk away with between $500 and $2,000 from the transaction, which would be wonderful. I had always assumed that we would break even or owing a bit. I'm really hoping Monday's showing of this townhouse comes out well. All the necessary paperwork is completed and ready for action if anything happens. To be honest, there are still times when I feel depressed and miss us. I had to run to the store this morning to get some medicine because I had a bad cold. I kind of remembered things from the past when I stopped by the bakery for a morning pleasure. Nor did the music that was playing inside the store at the time assist. On days like these, when the weather is bad and we have nothing planned but to kick back and relax, I miss spending time together on the couch. Yes, I still haven't reached the point where I enjoy being alone myself. Sincerely, I don't believe I ever have been, which could be an issue. I just like having other people around, even though I have spent a lot of time alone in the past. I began experiencing severe headaches around 1 month before to our marriage. My headaches became migraines, and I began to lose my balance and became lightheaded all day. It took me roughly 6 months from the time I first started to notice a problem until I had my surgery. I'm pretty sure I would have gone into a coma if I hadn't consented to an MRI. My brainstem's fourth ventricle was the exact location of the tumor. Its fast growth and displacement of fluid was the source of both discomfort and vertigo. Was quite aggressive in growth, but was neither malignant nor connected to anything. I can't recall the name of it. The way things developed, never really went overboard with the medicine. Mostly just painkiller things. I recall lying in the hotel bed with my former wife the night before the surgery. I'm not sure why I couldn't fall asleep. She wanted me to swear that I wouldn't abandon her. See, I made a vow to never do that. I was taken aback when I didn't receive a call from her on set asking to watch Dee. I spent the entire weekend lounging on the couch since I was unwell. The weather did nothing but rain. So, on Sunday, I finally got to meet him in person. I'm not sure how to respond to that. He made an attempt to shake my hand after acting like a buddy-buddy with me. I shot him a look like, "Are you really that stupid?" And he withdrew his hand, acting rudely toward me. Didn't shout or do anything. But I informed him that we are not pals. You helped break up my family by having an affair with my wife. Remember that we are now going to be friends, so don't think that I am being polite just for my kid. He simply got in the car and claimed he didn't want to fight. My ex-wife became agitated and started yelling at me. I didn't really care. I just laughed it off. She questioned why I forced him to come out if I was only going to act rudely. I informed her that it was his decision and reasoned that we should have a face-to-face meeting. It was inevitable, given our little town. I reasoned that it would be best to just get it over with. Didn't truly bring me down or anything. I guess I became a little agitated. Regretfully, after seeing them together, I did think about us a bit more during the course of the last day or two. Really don't own any mental images or anything related to them. I tried my best to enjoy the evening with Dee and not to think about or worry about anything. I might have located my next residence. I went to look at a place with Buddy, who will be my roommate, and we're going to visit another one on Thursday. I feel like one of the two will end up being my new place. The last bits appear to be beginning to fit together. Yes, I'm a little curious about what the hell I'll do with my life when I return to the city. Nothing from our divorce needs to be attended to anymore. Odd feeling. I've always had a life objective for my family and myself, something we can all strive towards. I am aware that my D and I still exist. What on earth am I wanting? My response. Op's life purpose was gone. Determining the new objective may require some time. But everyone's path to discovering their life's purpose is unique. Story 2. I was dropped like a bombshell, but I knew we would never be that pair. I've been with my wife for more than twice as long as I've been married, which is 5 years. Put the real time there and maybe she'll find this call me paranoid. I had a dream a few days prior that she was having an affair, and when I woke up the next morning, I felt compelled to check her phone. She was really hesitant to let me, and I saw this when I used a typical justification to do so, where there had previously never been an issue. As soon as I laid eyes on it, I knew just where to look. Text that she and her friend exchanged. Although I don't have concrete evidence, I do have a ton of anecdotal evidence that she cheated. When I was traveling, they were hanging out together, organizing a follow-up gathering for when I return, feedback, etc. She informed me she didn't want to be with me when I challenged her about this, that I was uninteresting. She had to do my food shopping and laundry, so she was like a kid. This sounded strange because I handle a lot of the other household tasks. You plus a few other small things. She insists that she hasn't had any contact with the other guy, but everything I've read makes it seem really unlikely. She adds that she has broken up with him and that all she needs is some alone time to concentrate on her career. I must be left alone. I don't believe that I am a married person. They were pals at first, as far as I know. My spouse enjoys lending a helping hand, and this man has struggled greatly. She was his coworker. They just completed a marathon together, having begun their training together. I spent a lot of this summer traveling for work, so I was unable to work out. I should have been the envious kind. I know. But I am aware of her strong desire to assist others. Additionally, I know people who have previously liked her, but it didn't work out. Heck, I wouldn't want her to mistrust my female friends. In the end, I placed too much trust in her. I would be sad to lose my spouse. Our first child was miscarried approximately 2 months ago. Even though I've undoubtedly been aloof since then, she never once mentioned that she was upset. That is the most painful thing. All of this feels like a crisis of midlife. She never expressed her unhappiness to me. I never had the chance to see if there was anything I could do to cheer her up. I'm certain I could have performed better. However, I was very preoccupied with my work and other commitments, and she appeared to be very content. When I bring up counseling, she gets upset and shows no desire to attempt to keep the marriage together. I find it hard to think that she was ever happy the way she acts. Everyone believed we were so happy, so the few people who know now are shocked. You guys were the last individuals I ever would have imagined. Wow. We need to work on our marriage, but I can't do it by myself. And I fear that pressuring her to want to stay with me may backfire more than help. She simply exudes confidence. When letting her leave is the last thing I truly desire, how do I persuade myself to do so? How can I not take this around with me and undermine it with distrust if I'm ever fortunate enough to discover someone like her again? If she doesn't, do I want to call off our divorce? Should I give up and endure more pain, or should I look for a way to move on? I doubt that reading a book on how to fix it would be helpful at this time. That is not something I can accomplish on my own. In a little while, I'm going to the doctor to try and get something that will help me function. I still have to work, and in 2 weeks I'll be traveling once more. According to the information I found, he is scheduled to visit my home. She avows that she broke things off with him and questions why she allowed it to go to that point. She was mentoring this man who was in recovery from drug addiction and is now an alcoholic. The woman I knew would never put up with this kind of behavior for very long, unless it was to assist. She is totally fixated on helping people. Together, they trained for this event and came close to the miscarriage. She wants to be by herself, focus on her profession, and avoid making amends. After a while of concentrating on hers, she now earns twice as much as I do. I was hoping to start making up lost time since I'm finishing my master's in a month. In the past 3 years, she has doubled hers. I'm well paid, yet attempting to support myself financially would require making some big adjustments. I'm not sure how that related to anything. Perhaps it was just the result of a disorganized mind. The dream was probably a result of some internalized suspicions. I sent her a mixed CD, lost our training together, and ignored the fact that I knew this person liked her in an attempt to avoid becoming envious. That night I had the dream. She merely behaved weirdly. That day, she accompanied me on a trip back to our previous location for an assignment I had to do, and we had been gone for several weeks. She had pals there, so I didn't give it much thought. But I felt uneasy, the way she was so cold to me that night. That day, she had been with him while I was in class. Her peculiar behavior that evening, along with a few unfounded concerns, undoubtedly contributed to the dream. Trying my hardest not to push her. Right now, I'm working with her, discussing the divorce, our intentions, and attempting to facilitate the next steps. I've only had 2 days to think about this, so it's difficult for me to concentrate on it. Theoretically, she knows where she is, and I'm still not sure how to interpret this. She won't be back until Friday of this weekend. I'll work through a few specifics. The horrifying incident that took place today. She called to discuss what her lawyer had told her and a few other regrettable things. She actually informed me that her attorney had encouraged her to file a lawsuit against me for emotional abuse or something similar if we wanted to move things forward quickly since, in the attorney's words, I don't know of any couple that has emotionally abused one another once or twice. Since it wouldn't appear anywhere in the public documents, she suggested it wouldn't be a huge concern. That is so untrue that I was at a loss for words when she mentioned that taking that shortcut to expedite matters would have been a greater dagger, more deeply than realizing that she most likely cheated on us following our miscarriage. I might have seemed aloof. However, I wouldn't do anything to harm her even after all of this. I find it incomprehensible that she would pretend as though saying anything like that is not a big deal. I'm attempting to hold back. It can only hurt if I do, not so much because I believe it will help if I don't. She doesn't back down from a decision easy, especially now that her parents are aware of it. Knowing her even a little bit more will convince her to commit to the action in order to avoid coming across as weak. Other than the usual topics of conversation, we don't discuss much over the phone. We talk about people we know, how her presentation went, and other things because she is at a conference. The one exception is the call she made yesterday to discuss the legal matters I mentioned in my post below. Yesterday, we had a nice, casual conversation that felt nearly natural. She was wondering why I was exercising so much and making such an effort. Although I've always been healthy, these are currently supporting me. Strange as it may seem, the worst part of the conversation ended then. As we were hanging up, she said, "Okay, love you." I responded, "Love you too, bye," right away. The fact that everything happened so quickly, and I knew that was the expected reaction, is what stung. After that, I passed out at the gym and ended up spending 4 hours in the hospital, which made the day a little worse. My small cardiac ailment hasn't flared up in the last 3 years. Even after that, I was feeling quite okay, until they asked for my emergency contact information. I needed to consider it. I'm seeing an attorney today. I detest how quickly this is progressing. There seems to be more acting than thinking, in my opinion. I had a wonderful conversation with my best friend yesterday, days later. She currently resides abroad with her spouse, but they will shortly return to the United States. We've known them as friends for a very long time. But since I'm the one making the connection, I felt comfortable phoning. She revealed, shockingly, that she and her husband had previously discussed how my W seemed to be the kind of person who was constantly searching for something better. They believed career, clothes, meant that she would leave me if she ever became truly successful, and it seems they were correct. I'm not sure how I missed that. It never occurred to me. I've been exercising a lot and taking initiative to get things done. So I've been doing very well these past 24 hours. Since I tend to put things off, I'm currently organizing the guest bedroom so I can spend the next few weeks there. We moved here only a few weeks ago, so it begs the question, if she wasn't happy, why did she let me relocate here? I tried to start learning how to live without her this morning and didn't text her. It's going to be a terrible ride. My friend, who is approximately 6 months ahead of me in the process and has children, is in a very similar scenario to mine. She is still very upset and doesn't look forward to the upcoming year. She returns home today after her work trip. It's going to be a bad weekend. It seems like I've been hoping she would change her mind. She didn't text or call this morning, but soon she did. I noticed that I was upset. I guess I was hoping for the best. Does anyone else find that the mornings are worse? In the afternoon and evening, when I'm busy and have a good mood, etc., I feel practically frantic. However, I am crushed again in the mornings. She's getting ready for bed in the room next door. For the first time in our 12 years together, we will both be at home and not in the same bed. It was much better for me when she wasn't here. Oh well, I'm still not sure where the woman I married disappeared to. This girl jokes and looks just like her. It's obviously not my wife. Yet for a time, it's nearly normal before it gets awkward. Is it really acceptable for someone to squander 12 years of their life without making an effort to resolve conflicts? I should take care of myself. I know. I understand. But it's difficult to pretend like this isn't breaking me down on the inside. She seems to be somewhat concerned about my new location last night. Since we had recently moved here, she assumed without hesitation that I would remain in the city. Why would I then do that? I have not disclosed my destination to her. It's one of the few things I've managed to keep hidden from her. When I discussed the 180 with my mother, she agreed that you should work on yourself, but advised me not to give the impression that I've moved on so quickly. She reasoned that it might make things worse temporarily and send the impression that I never really cared for my wife. We therefore had a lengthy heart-to-heart last night about how we got here and where we're heading. She reaffirmed her lack of interest in making amends, but she also severely criticized herself for a number of things. I consoled her, feeling awful somehow, and went to bed feeling a lot more at ease about the whole thing. I believe that just having a lengthy conversation with her was beneficial to me. Similar to yesterday, today began with a conversation before becoming out of hand when she returned the iPad to me to set it up. There are two of us. Surprised, she left her email open. She and the are still in communication. It's not like I should be surprised, and I'm not. She keeps lying to me, and that hurts me. At this point, what's the point of lying? All it does is cause me to discover yet another unsettling fact, which slows down and partially reverses my healing. I'm sorry I can't put my trust in this person. For the past 12 years, this has been the only person I have trusted. I have no idea what to do. I am the one who is harmed, and I lack her network of support. She just departed for her job at 6:45 am. Although I am not uncomfortable with her being gone, I am aware that she will go talk. I can't wait when that realization doesn't make me genuinely nauseous when I text with the This will be adored by those who read it. This morning, she texted me to let me know that I may return the CD that was in the car. The CD that she was given by the I only came across one. She said they were plural, so I guess I missed the others. You expect your spouse to keep the CD your lover gave you around, even after he finds out you are, at the very least, having a deeply emotional affair with another man. What is this person thinking about? I apologized to her, but I threw out the CD. I probably should have omitted the part when I apologized. That, I'm sure, is a typical reaction in that circumstance for any person, male or female. She is successful if she wants me to want to move out sooner. It's difficult to be around her. The 180 is operating as intended, but I am finding it difficult to identify new projects to concentrate on that aren't currently underway, and I am overly idle. I'll be moving out and many states away for a new career in about a month. Now, given I reside in the north and am a southern boy who will probably never really get acclimated to snow, I am the kind of man who enjoys a lot of space and would really want a garage. I was considering a smaller apartment because I don't want to deal with the maintenance of a house right now. When I bring this up with people, especially women, they often say something like, "What the hell? Are you 60 now? Will you ever want to go on another date?" Everyone wants me to move into a cool apartment in the city. Girls in my age range are said to say 26, 30. This will seem cool to us. I'll socialize more and meet more people, which will help me move on. All of this is definitely true. However, poor parking and loud neighbors scare me. My comment, while it may have come across as desperate, is that the second walked out of his toxic relationship in less than a month and is doing well. How much time did it take you to leave? Leave a remark and get ready for the next one.